video, we are working super rhythmical stuff with the feet. So you start slowly and you just understand the pattern, how those crosses are traveling, where is the rebound and all that thing with the feet. And then you try to do it a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster, and then here we are on the music. So let's try. It's not slow, but the good news is just at the beginning of the song, so we're gonna have several attempts to master it since we're repeating it every week, right? Like if you're trying to memorize the whole song, you're gonna be memorizing this, repeating it, and trying to master it every week. If you're not trying to remember the whole song, don't worry about it. It's just today. Next week is gonna be long gone. That's the fastest part of the song and the most rhythmical one, so the next things will be much slower. Okay, so we have that part. So which leg do you have free? Okay, you started with the left, you prepare, you went left, change, left, change, left, change, left, tap. So now we have the right leg free. And from this right leg, we're gonna very fast repeat another pattern. This pattern is gonna be a little mix of a molinette-ish like steps, meaning they're gonna be open steps and forward and back crosses. But this forward and back crosses is gonna be done in kind of peculiar manner, meaning we're not gonna be really pivoting. We're simply gonna be crossing the leg up front without even particularly worrying about finishing in the same line. So we're not trying to cross very deep, we're not trying to overcross to pass, we actually almost in the second line, a little bit overlap, right? So when we're crossing, we can almost imagine that we're going diagonal, but this diagonal is not very progressing forward. This diagonal is almost flat, yet not so flat that we are in one line, right? So let's try. Let's move to one side and look, we simply reserve one line for that front cross and the other leg is gonna be on the other line, so slightly on the back. So look, I'm not here. I have one foot behind, yes? And this line is reserved for these front crosses, yes? So I go here and my side step is slightly behind. Forward, and here we rebound and we reverse the situation. So now this leg is gonna go on the back because the front leg is gonna be passing on the front line. So open, cross, open, cross, open. Now push that leg back, cross, open, cross, open. Now we're gonna push this leg to the back so we can cross up front and cross up front, right? Now what would happen if we try to do the same thing on the back? We're gonna go side, back. So now again two lines, one behind the other, so they're not colliding. We're gonna go back and this leg is gonna stay on the front line. And cross, and side, and cross, and side. Now we're gonna move that back leg forward, so now the back leg has space to complete the crosses. Yes, side, move the leg forward, cross behind, side, cross behind, side, cross behind, side. Now from this back track, this leg gonna go now to front track, so the other leg can start crossing behind. And reverse, change the legs and cross, side, cross, side, cross, side, exchange the tracks, cross, side, cross, side, cross, and side. So far we know that we can keep repeating this side cross, forward or back. Yes, the cross can happen on the front or the cross can happen on the back, and we don't necessarily need to interfere, right, with the lines of both legs. They can just coexist, right, in agreement. So in our case, we finished with the right leg. We're gonna send that leg slightly back so we can create the front cross, right? So rather than go side and then cross forward, we're gonna send the first leg slightly back so the second leg can stay up front. And then we rebound, so side, and on the comeback we send that leg back so again we can cross up front. We go side, send that leg slightly back so we can cross up front, side, send the leg slightly back so we can cross up front, side, send the leg slightly back so we can cross up front, and side. Now let's repeat the same thing because we're only gonna be moving backwards this time. We're not gonna be moving forward, so we don't need to practice the other one. But if you want and you have time later, go back and practice because it's gonna come handy at some point. But right now we are gonna go slightly back, very slightly back to create the space. So side, cross, side, side, cross, side, side, cross, side, side, cross, side, side, cross, side. One more time. With the right leg, slightly back, cross, side, 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 slightly back, cross, side. And one more time. Ready? Slightly back, cross, side, slightly back, cross, side, slightly back, cross, side, slightly back, cross, side. Now let's do it one more time, but this time let's count to 8, right? So you can imagine these steps as kind of doing a 3 steps pattern, like you're going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We can imagine it that way when we're doing it as an exercise. But on the actual music, on tango music, we gonna have 2, 4 or 8, right? So we're not gonna be having like 9 steps, right? So let's count to 8, starting with that right leg that we currently have free, right? So if we start counting to 8, we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you're normally exercising this step, you can think of it as a set of 3, right? Like we're going open, cross, open. Yes? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But because we're allocating the same amount of time for every step, we are not holding, and in tango we count to 4 or to 8, right? We're gonna do the same thing. We're not gonna allocate any additional time to slow down at the end of that 3 to complete the 4 phrase, right? We're just simply gonna go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's count the step. If we start from the right leg that we have free right now, we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So we did two sets of 8 or 4 sets of 4. Right? Whatever is easier for you to remember. Let's go one more time. I'm gonna count to 4 like before. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you notice, I'm actually finishing on kind of like a new step of the next possible series, yeah, on the next potential repetition, right? But I'm not gonna do it, I'm gonna stop right here, yes? So if you don't wanna count, simply remember how many times you go right and left, and that you have to finish when you're moving to the left. Ready? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes? Very good. One more time. Now let's try this time to have the steps slightly smaller, and we don't have to distribute this combination as such a huge amount of in such a huge amount of space. We're gonna actually try to make it much smaller. Ready? Starting with the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes? One more time. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes? Okay, now, since this is as fast as the first thing, right? I obviously won't be able to squeeze those numbers in my counting. So you remember ta 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 ta, yeah, the same thing. So we're gonna just let's count it 1, 2, 1, 2. Maybe that's easier. Ready? And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes? One more time. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so now you have the timing. Now the secrets. So again, the same as on the first combination, we are trying to move kind of the legs underneath us without so much moving our body. We also don't want to emphasize the end, right? So if we emphasize the end here, we're gonna be wasting that extra count, yes, that we don't have. So we need to try to do it as flat as possible, at the same time thinking that we don't have to arrive and come back. We're kind of letting our feet to move underneath us. So if the steps are smaller and kind of in play, almost in place, it's much easier to do it, yes? So again, with the right leg, ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Yes? Okay. And at the very end, we're gonna add one cross and we're gonna pause right here for a moment, right? So you have something to complete. So just one extra step and that's our pause for now. Yes? Ready? One more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. Again. And 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. Again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. Again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. So again, remember not to commit to one direction or the other, because if you commit to one direction, then it's very hard to reverse it, right? So it's like you're kind of going, but you're not really going. Like you don't have a big commitment to one way or the other. Yes? 2 more times. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. One more. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, pause. Okay, so we have to try with the music, but before we do that, let's combine with what we have before, right? And don't forget to subscribe.